All right, folks, good evening and welcome to the December meeting of the Parks and Waterfront Resiliency Committee. If you are a member of the public, if you can use the chat feature to sign in for attendance purposes, we ask for your name and any affiliation. If you are affiliated with an organization or community group, if you're not, you can just put your name and neighborhood if you want, whatever you'd like to do. We are only using the chat for attendance purposes as well as technical issues. So if you are having any technical issues with Zoom, just put a message in the chat and I will try to help you as best I can. For tonight's meeting, the way the chair typically runs the meeting, and I am not the chair, Trevor Holland is that after each presentation by the city agency, there will be time for question and answer from community board members first. First will be the members of the community board that are on the Parks Committee. Then will be any other community board members at large who may be attending tonight's meeting. And then after community board member question and answers, we will open it up to the public for questions and comments. As usual, we ask that everyone keep their questions and comments to 2 minutes. You will be timed. Keep the questions and comments on the topic at hand and not to go off topic or try to bring up something that's not on the agenda. We use the raise hand feature for this function. So if you don't know where the raise hand feature is, if you open the participant screen in Zoom, you will see the raise hand feature there. That's how we will take questions. Typically, we take them in the order that people have raised their hand. If you are on the phone, it is *9 to raise your hand and *6 to mute and unmute yourself on the phone. And just a reminder, we are recording this meeting for compliance with open meeting law, and the meeting will be posted on our website within the next 24 to 48 hours. I believe I've covered everything, Trevor.
Thank you, Michael, for that introduction. Just going to add a couple more things. Typically, we try and move as efficiently as we can, although we do run into issues at times. The agenda that you see posted, we're going to move things a little bit around, but those are the topics that we're going to discuss tonight. If you are here to speak on an item that is not on the agenda, we ask you to put that notification in the chat box. Michael can sort of take a list of the folks who want to speak. But if you are here to speak on one of the agenda items, we ask for you to wait until we get to that agenda item. As Michael has stated, we will take the questions in the order of community board committee members, then community board members, then the public. That being said, we're going to start with the approval of previous month minutes, which is also the way we take attendance. The minutes are also deemed approved if there are no objections from committee members. And I see Ryan is here, so I'm going to put down my notepad since I don't have to take notes. And Ryan, can you do the roll call?
Trevor Holland.
Yes, we're here, technically.
Kay Webster.
Here.
David Adams.
Here.
Yaron Altman. Yaron Altman. Carlin Chan.
Here. Here.
Ryan Gillum, present. Valentina Jones.
Here.
Michael Marino.
Here.
Carolyn Ratcliffe. Carolyn Ratcliffe. Robin Chattel.
Here.
Josephine Velez.
Okay, it just.
Josephine Velez. Troy Velez.
He is here.
Yes.
Here.
Thanks. That's it.
All right, thank you, Ryan. Before we get to the Parks Manager update, I see two people who have requested to speak on an agenda, non-agenda item, and they are Michelle Cooper-Smith and Kimberly Tran. So Michelle, you want to go first? Michael, you want to pull up the clock?
There's two
whenever
more.
you're-
There's two more, Trevor, as well.
Sure. Go ahead, Michelle.
Thanks, Trevor. I know
Does the
we have
clock start? Sorry, Mike.
I'm getting there. Hold on.
Oh, here we go.
the all-important clock.
Yes, extremely important.
All right, go ahead, Michelle.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Michelle Cooper-Smith. I'm a member of CB3, but I'm not on the Parks Committee. I live on Essex and Delancey, and I noticed this week that Seward Park was closing earlier than it typically has since, I don't know, COVID, I guess. I have really enjoyed having that space during this terrible time. I don't have a outdoor space in my own apartment. I typically go there after work, which unfortunately ends later than 6. And so I checked with the office about what was going on, and I just asked if there had been any issues there to, predicate closing the park earlier than normal. And Susan told me that she asked the district services, and the 7th precinct didn't have any particular complaints about the park, and there were no 311 calls, and then nothing had come into the office. So I'm just wondering what's going on, and if the park could be open as late as possible, just, especially during this difficult time when so many of us are struggling to meet people in public spaces when we don't have outdoor spaces of our own. So thank you, the committee, for your time and your consideration about this matter.
Thank you, Michelle. Michael, who's next?
Trin, I believe, wanted to speak on the same, Kim Tran, I'm sorry, wanted to speak on the same topic. Kim?
Hi, yes. Hi, so I'm Kim Tran. I'm a resident at 10 Rutgers Street, and I'm also here to speak about the Seward Park closure. So I moved to the neighborhood from the East Village during COVID, and Seward Park's become like a part of my daily life, especially since I adopted a dog in the fall. And so when I noticed the gates were closing at 6 p.m., I just really wanted to understand what was going on. Similar to what Michelle said, 6 p.m. is really tough for somebody who works until 6 p.m. And I really don't think closing the park early is like in the best interest of the community it serves. I think that, when I am there past 6 p.m., usually what I'm seeing are groups of people taking laps, people playing basketball, potentially people walking their dogs. Today when I was there, there were groups doing, Tai Chi. And so I just think that, I've never seen any issues, and I'm sure there's others who need open space in the city, even later at night. So I was really sad and disappointed to see it closed, even, before a later time. So yeah, thank you for your time, and that's just what I wanted to raise today.
Thank you, Kimberly and Michelle, for keeping that to a minute. I appreciate that. Michael, who's next?
Wendy and then Val.
It's 2 years from now, December 2022. You decide to go for a walk and head over to the East River. It's your way to relax and stay fit and to get out without spending any money. After crossing through an active construction zone, you finally get to the brand new Pier 42 and you notice a few tennis, basketball, and soccer players behind 16-foot fences. You can join the people walking along the corridors between these sports fields, but there's no way to take a riverside stroll or walk all the way to the public Pier 36, where you can escape the incessant sound of FDR traffic and the massive BMCR and ESCR construction. There's a few tables and benches, but there's no shade, no comfort station, and with all the chain link fences blocking your view, there's not much relief from the concrete city. Knowing that the time to act is short, I sent a draft resolution to this committee about the interim recreation deck planned for Pier 42. This draft prioritizes health and equitable access. Along with shaded benches and a toilet, I included some cost-effective amenities suggested at recent public meetings, like low-cost or no-cost court access for prioritized LES resident tennis players, a water play area, barbecues, a shed for park stewardship, etc. We know fresh air reduces the impacts of COVID, so let's encourage local people to stay longer and return often. Let's extend the passive recreation space by opening 10% of the public space currently used by DOT for an ADA accessible 2,000-foot-long path with an unobstructed river view linking Pier 42 and Pier 35. I'm hoping this committee will edit my draft with alacrity and pass a healthy resolution for Pier 42 immediately. It's all we will have, and CB3 can make it better. By the
Thank
way,
you,
I'm Wendy
Wendy.
Brewer, 30 LES resident. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. Val's next, Michael.
Yes, Val. And we have a new hand up if you want to honor it from Tommy. Val, go ahead.
Okay, my name is Valentina Jones. I'm here on behalf of the Lower East Side Power Partnership. I'm a retired registered nurse. We have concerns about Pier 42 interim plans, the tennis courts, basketball courts, public bathrooms, and interim timing. We recently were at a community public meeting, and there was much expressions concerning the tennis courts, basketball courts, and whether this was the best use of space. So we support the voices in the community, but if the basketball court and tennis courts as proposed are implemented, this is what we encourage. One of the things that was said at the meeting was that the cost for a tennis permit at East River Park, this was at the LESPP meeting, the cost for a tennis permit at East River Park is $100. And someone stated that cost may prevent many low-income residents of ZIP 10002 from using the tennis courts. So LESPP advocates that the tennis court fee be waived for residents of ZIP 10002 who receive Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP, or public assistance, as well as healthcare professionals. And we advocate the other thing is the LESPP resident was at one of the meetings on BMCR, and it was stated that the residents wanted basketball courts, especially for the teams, and they were concerned about them moving. At the meeting, at the community construction meeting concerning Pier 42, fencing height was raised. LESPP advocates for fencing similar to the fencing in the slide on the BMCR, which is on page 10, stated basketball courts. And in terms of bathrooms, LESPP advocates for considering that we are presently in a pandemic and that health and safety for the present and future should be taken into consideration when thinking about bathrooms. That's
Thank
it.
you, Val. I'm going to our last speaker, and I assume this is Michael, who's the last one? This is Tommy, correct?
Tommy Love.
Tommy.
Hi, I just want to raise a quick issue. Tonight's the first night of Hanukkah, and somebody should have checked the schedule to make sure that this meeting was probably not held on the first night of Hanukkah. It's an important night in the Jewish community, and I think it was a mistake. Thanks.
Thank you, Tommy. I'm going to ask you to refer that to the community board office. But a good point. Thanks. Next up, the Parks Manager's update.
Good evening, everyone. The first part of my update is previously, before Sunday, the Parks Commissioner selected several parks throughout District 3 that we were going to leave open. Seward was one of them. So for a month's time, we left it open due to staffing issues and concerns we have throughout all the Parks Department. Seward currently right now is being is being locked up. So typically it gets locked up an hour after the library to compensate, because we lock up the whole borough of Manhattan out of District 3. So I know there's a lot of concerns that either we lock it up too early or too late. It's very difficult for us because we are currently 30 staff down from where we were last year. So when we lock up at night, we lock it up from the south, the east, and the west. And typically I have 2 drivers and I have a staff support person that goes with them. So it's very difficult at this point. So usually when we get to Seward, I try to range it closer to 8 o'clock, just to maximize people the possibility to go out after work and utilize the park. Also, Stanton Playground is going to be reopened again. We're going to open it from 10 to 2. PEP and PD are going to be notified, and we're going to monitor the heavy drug use and the homeless issues we have around the playground. Seward Park, it finally has gas, and we're working on the final punch list to get the park house ready for use. Corliss Hook Dog Run is open, and that's currently everything I have to present.
Hi, Jamil. I'm not going to keep you on too long, but I will ask a couple of questions just for clarification. You said that the commissioner wanted for several parks to stay open. I think you're saying 24/7. Which parks?
24/7, correct.
Yeah. Which parks were those?
I know for District 3, we had Henry Jackson. We had the fields, and a lot of the parks were selected because they were so accessible and people could get access even if we did lock it. Seward was one. The fields on East River, 1, 2, 3, and 4 were also selected. Henry Jackson was another one, and I believe also Soul Lane. I could get you more. I don't have it in front of me, but I can forward it to the community board.
Yeah, if you could forward that list to the community board, that would be fine. And just clarification, you're saying you're down 30 staff, so it's difficult for you to.
Yeah, currently right now we have. I'm sorry.
No, you're going to go there. So I'm just trying to get an idea of how you're able to close all these parks within a reasonable amount of time if you're down so many staff members.
So they start at 5 o'clock in the evening. So before the pandemic, we had 70 plus staff. Currently, right now, we're around 35. So I've reduced the night lockup. It's about typically we have a range of 4 drivers and 6 support staff. Typically, it's 2 drivers that do the whole borough. They start at 5 o'clock. And it's difficult because I have some staff who have chronic attendance issues and they don't come in. But we're trying to make our best to make sure we lock things up, and we give people a suitable amount of time to utilize the park in the evening hours.
Okay. And what was the closure time? You said after the library closed. What was the closure time? So
the library
it
typically closes at 6, and on Wednesday it closes at 7. So we've been trying to find a balance. I'm trying to push closer to 8 o'clock. Okay. I checked it before we started. We left it open. It was being closed around 7:30 nightly.
Jamil?
Trevor, we've got 3 hands up, and I also have a question too. So.
All right. So we're going to go to the 4 people, and we're going to make this just be brief. So Michael, can you call out whoever you saw first?
That would be Kay.
Okay.
First of all, thank you, Jamal, for the Stanton playground being open from 10 to 2 and the extra staffing to curb the drug use and all the other things that happened there. Really appreciate it. I wrote today and the commissioner said he would respond. We need those needle exchange boxes. The community board has signed on to it. We have volunteers working now trying to put the park back together, and they're finding needles, and there's no readily available place to put them. And I'm hearing from people that some of the workers who are encountering them, who are working on the MTA project, are burying them in the soil, which is probably not a good idea. So it's somewhat urgent, and also for people who use who would like a place to dispose of their needles, they have no place to put them. So anything you can do to expedite that, really appreciate it. The community board has signed on to all of it. The coalition does. So thank you.
I'll voice your concerns to Steve Simon, who will give it to Castro.
I'm just surprised you haven't heard yet, because Castro said he would look into it ASAP. So anyway, thank you. No worries.
Yeah, my question is similar to that. I am a retired drug counselor, and so I want to know, how do you plan to monitor the drugs? And don't tell me those boxes, because I don't believe that you just finished getting high, you're gonna get up and be concerned about where you put some needles after you get high. So how do they plan to monitor the drug use?
I mean, I don't really have an answer for you for that one. I mean, me walking around Saturday, honestly, it's gotten very, very bad. I mean, that's something that's very honest. I know First Park, we recently cleaned it up a week ago. We found numerous needles. We have our mobile crew that goes out. We give them needle boxes to collect it while they're working. But again, I'll voice it to the commissioner.
The people that with the boxes that you said collecting the needles, do they have those gloves that are like puncture proof? Because I couldn't imagine somebody telling me, huh?
The staff is trained. They have the needles and they have the I forgot what you call them, to pick up the needles and put them inside the box.
So they have those special gloves?
Yes, they do.
Oh, okay. All right. But anyway, next time, if you could like share how they plan to monitor, you know, it sounds like heroin use here. So how you plan to monitor it? Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Troy?
Thank you. Hey, Jamil, how you doing? Just
Good,
some
how you
information on the park staying open. I know you mentioned the park that I run and here, Henry M. Jackson. You know that we have storage shed there. Are you guys, since the park is gonna designated to be open 24 hours, is there some type of security that's gonna be in these parks?
I know we have a PEP unit that's on later to 12 o'clock, and they do a extensive tour around the district to check on, you know, people loitering in the playgrounds and issues of smoking. So they've been doing that. But again, what I would recommend people to do is they write a letter, it gets the park reviewed, and like we did with Seward, we started closing Seward.
Okay.
Troy, I'm just gonna, because I'm familiar with the Seward Park situation, if you have some opinions about the closure or opening of that park, could you forward it to the community board or Susan? I hear you on that storage shed, so I would, if you could write it today or tomorrow, it'd be really helpful.
Okay, great, I will.
Thanks.
Jamal, sorry.
We're gonna go to Michael, and then Carlin will be the last one, and then we're gonna move on. Michael?
Jamal, I'm just wondering if you have an update for me about our conversation this morning about the new fences that are supposedly going up in Corliers.
No, I spoke to Mark Ficaro this afternoon about it. There's supposed to be a meeting tomorrow to get some more clarity. They're saying that from the forestry division, that areas are supposed to be blocked off. So I haven't got a really concrete answer of what they're going to do. I'll try to reach out to Mark tomorrow morning to get a better answer for you. I'll call you tomorrow during the day.
All right, sorry, I thought you said the meeting was today. That's why I asked.
No, I did meet with the people who took it down. They're saying they're going to put it back up. Okay. You know, and our chief, who was not in today, did send an email for more clarity from all the parties to get why was the fence taken down and does it need to be put back up. Okay, well, I know this is being recorded and I don't care, but if it goes back up, we're going to take it back down. I'm just telling you that right now. So you can tell whoever needs to know that, but they're wasting their time putting it back up.
This is a tough day, Jamil. Last one. Last one. Carla.
Okay. Can you hear me, Jamil?
Good evening.
We can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I'd like to address the issue about Columbus Park. It hasn't been locked up in over a week now. I go out there every morning around 5 o'clock, and the gates are open on the northern sector of the park. All right. Some of the gates are closed halfway, but they definitely are not locked. I would suggest maybe locking these gates a little bit earlier, closer to 7, because there are only several working lights within Columbus Park. Thomas Paine Park has no working lights, and Foley Square has no working lights. Those two parks are in total darkness. So, yeah, I'm only speaking for the 3 parks that are near me. But Columbus Park is not safe, and neither is Thomas Paine or Foley Square after sundown. I've addressed this issue about the lighting for 2 years now, and it's thank you.
Jamil?
Okay. They're not District 3 parks, but they are part of our lockup. Part of the issue I know with Columbus, when I read the report nightly, is typically because of the homeless encampments inside the park, we can't lock them in. The other two parks, what I could do is I could speak to my staff and do a light outage report, and then I could forward it up to DOT to address the lights that are out.
Okay, thank you, Jamil. I'm gonna follow up. I didn't realize that situation with the lockup. That's interesting. And the lights we're gonna follow up on.
Jamil, you need to do the lighting study at Columbus Park too. There are only about 5 lights out of 22.
And a lot of the lights in the parks are very dim. And we've been also asking for this for quite a while. And with COVID, it's gotten very bad, as you said, with Sarah D. And I know you don't have much power over that, but please do convey.
So we just recently did one for Sarah D not too long ago. And the lights that were out, we pushed the work order to DOT to address the issue.
Thank you. All right, Robin, I did say Carlin was the last one, but you're going to be the last one because we really got to move on. So go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to mention the new Gulick Park on Delancey is really beautiful. But there, you know, I guess it's because it's new and the system of keeping it clean. The green areas of plantings that are along Delancey Street are actually now becoming collectors of dirt and garbage. And so I don't know if that's a responsibility of parks or if that's DOT, but I want to just make a note of that as well. Thanks, Jamil.
On a sad note, one of the staff that we dedicated to that park recently got an appointment to a year-round position, but it's not in District 3, it's in District 10. So we lost them. So that dedicated staff we have for the park is lost. So it's the common trend, unfortunately, us losing staff. What I could do tomorrow is I'll send 2 gardeners there to clean up the hoard areas inside the park.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's a beautiful new park, and we would hate for it to lose that. Thanks so much. Thank you.
And thank you, Jamil, for that update and for answering those questions. Appreciate it. Next up, Michael, if you want to queue up the screen for the first item, well, not the first item, but the next item on our agenda. Folks understand that DDC, EDC, and the entire ESCR team comes here every single month, and they've been coming for years. We're trying to keep the presentation to updates because there's obviously a lot to discuss with this park or this brand new park. So we're going to look at an update, which will deal, we're going to find out what it deals with, but we really want to stay on topic here and keep the discussion to the topic at hand. But Desiree, you're giving the presentation? Yes, if you want to introduce yourself and you can start. You need to unmute yourself.
Okay, can you hear me and see my screen?
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. Great, thank you. All right, so good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us here tonight. My name is Desiree Gazzo, Community Engagement with HNTB Lero for the Eastside Coastal Resiliency Project. I have presented before, so I'm sure most of you are familiar with me. I am here with a limited team tonight. Some of our parks and EDC representatives could not make it, so they were the ones that would answer some of the questions that are typically asked. So I just wanted to give everyone a heads up about that to start off with. So tonight, okay, there we go. So tonight we're going to go over an overview of contracts, bicycle and pedestrian access, communications. We have a few points on what we've heard, and then a very quick recap of soil and environmental and Section 3 and MWBE, just quick reminders, 1 slide's there. We do not have very many updates for PA1, so we did try to keep the presentation short. However, we did want to provide an update on Project Area 2 as well. Again, it will be brief. So quick project area overview. We always put this up just in case we need to speak to anything. And then just the overview of contracts. So for project area 1, the procurement is in process. Once that process is completed, then the mass mailing will be sent to elected officials and community boards. And then the CCL will onboard early next year. For project area 2, as everyone is aware, the contractor received NTP on November 16th. So we are, still in this mobilization and site prep phase. They've only been on board for a couple of weeks, so they are getting all their ducks in a row. They're still making submittals, which includes the construction safety and environmental plans, which I know everyone is very anxious about, but they are still, within that process of submitting things for us to review, DDC and the PMCM team. Again, the mass mailings for PA2 have been sent to elected officials and the community boards, and we have our CCL Nadine on board, which I'm sure, again, if you've been on the site up at Astor Levy and the north end of Sky Cove Park, you've probably seen her out there. For a parallel conveyance, again, the bid opening is scheduled for the beginning of 2021, and then the CCL to onboard kind of later in the year. So just a very quick overview of some of the activities that you could expect to see if you go up to Astor Levy Playground and around Solar One. I'm sure anyone who's been up there has seen the fencing that has gone up. Again, the submittal review is underway. We have started with the bike rerouting signage, which I will talk to you about in the next slide here. They are doing test pits and minor demolition. And then we are looking to, again, once those submittals are reviewed and approved, the air monitoring equipment and installation will move forward. So just to review the pedestrian access up in project area 2, the Astor Levy handball and track are open. The access is on East 25th Street. Around Solar One area where you see the fences going up, that's for the construction of the flood wall adjacent to the Solar One area. Most of the work up there will not inhibit pedestrian circulation. There will be days when, due to heavy equipment in the area, the pedestrian access will be either enclosed temporarily with flaggers, or it may be shut down. And again, for those detours, we will, do our best to communicate in advance the closures in that area. But right now, we are looking to maintain pedestrian access through Sky Cove Park, past that Solar One area, and to continue connecting to the Greenway to the north. And again, pedestrian circulation will be detoured starting in fall of 2021 when the main portion of Stuyvesant Cove Park takes place. So for the Greenway detour, I'm sure many of you have received the community advisory, which I have here on the next slide. And we wanted to issue a community advisory in advance of the closure of the Greenway. The detour that is in the mass mailing package is the Houston Street detour, which if anyone was at the CB6 transportation meeting, you would have seen the East Houston Street to 1st and 2nd Avenues and then to 38th Street. We are actively working with DOT and the contractor to create a more localized detour, since the portion of the work that is happening right now for the next few months is only around the Solar One area. So we wanted to get the notification of the upcoming detour out so everyone was aware. And then as soon as we have that route finalized with DOT and the contractor, we will send an updated advisory. So I am expecting questions on that. I do want to preface it with, it is actively in the works. I was on the phone today. So, we're looking to make that better for you. So again, the detours are subject to change as we move along with construction. PA1 will start up in the beginning of the year, and then the detour will change. And then once PA2, again, that main part of Sky Cove Park kicks in next fall, the detours will change as well. There will always be access to open portions of the park for PA1 and PA2. If a part of the park is open, we will maintain access. So, you know, we put out the detours. However, the detour is not the only route that you have to the park. You know, that is for the Greenway. It's the main thoroughfare, the Greenway. If you have local, you know, if you're riding or biking or running locally, your detour, you know, you may choose to take a different detour. This is the detour that we're coordinating for the Greenway in coordination with DOT. So I just, you know, we just wanted to put that out there. And again, all detours are subject to change based on the work that is at hand. Again, the safety of the community, of our contractors, of the work area is first and foremost. And this will be a very active construction site up here in Project Area 2, and then, as everyone is well aware, down in PA1. So again, just a review of the communications. The bulletins go out weekly. We've been getting them out on Fridays, or again, if it's a holiday, we get it out before the holiday weekend. I'm sure in some cases it may get pushed to Monday, but we are really trying our best to get that out before the weekend. The community advisory, again, I think most of you, if you subscribe to the newsletter and communications, did receive the East River Greenway. I think this morning we sent that out. There will be a follow-up to that with a route. So we are, again, working on that so that it is not the Houston Street to 1st and 2nd Avenue. So again, actively coordinating with DOT. And then everything gets posted to the website, and we're looking to put some of the maps, again, once these detours get posted, kind of on the website, so that way you could see them and not have to click all around. So we are working through that. We've also received a few questions, and I think it was from CB6, but I will mention it here. The DOT street closure advisory that's on the homepage of our ESCR website, that kind of, when you click to that, it clicks of all 5 boroughs. So we are looking to try to make that click to somewhere more localized within the project area. So if you do have, you know, any feedback on the communications, on the website links, you know, we are trying to make this easier for you. So please reach out through the inquiry tool, and, you know, we will take into consideration, you know, your thoughts. What we've heard. So again, we do have a limited team here today. The compost relocation, unfortunately, there are no updates at this point. Again, if you want to voice your concerns, that's perfectly fine, and we can take them back. However, there won't be anyone here tonight to speak to it. The Solar One coordination, we have been asked that at several meetings, and we are coordinating with EDC and Solar One on the work that they're doing. Again, we're looking to get into Solar One to get the construction wall, to get the flood wall built, and then get out, so that way Solar One can go in and construct their facility. So signage, we've also had a couple of comments about signage. There is standard DOT detour signage in place in the contract, as well as several custom signage for the detours in place. And then we are looking at a more pedestrian level signage as well, especially around the ferry areas, and then throughout the parks. So again, that is in progress. As the detours are changing, the signage would change. Emergency access. So we have been, or the team has been, coordinating with FDNY, NYPD, etc. throughout this project, from the design phases and now into the construction phase. So, you know, the preliminary plans that were discussed in the design phase as far as emergency access was concerned is now being realized through the construction phase, as we are now speaking with the contractor and, again, learning how they propose to phase all the projects. So there are and will be, depending on, you know, where we are in the project, active on-site conversations with FDNY, with NYPD. They are alerted in advance of road closures or park closures and alerted to what that emergency route would look like. So it's not just, you know, here's the plan and we give it to FDNY and NYPD. We have, you know, active conversations. You know, the project is very fluid, and these conversations go on between our PMCM team and the contractor, and you know, all boots on the ground for the emergency access. It's very important to the city and very important for us on this project. The parks site material reuse. Trevor, I know you had asked this at the last meeting, and unfortunately Parks is not with us, but I believe you got an answer at the CAG meeting. And basically the coordination for any type of parks materials, benches, etc., that coordination would go through the Parks Department. They have salvaged several things from the parks. However, anything that is a community need or a community ask, we do ask that you direct that to the Parks Department. And then just, I guess, on site safety here, there have been some questions about the homeless, and for PA1, PA2, PC, it doesn't matter what project area we're on. It's very important to make sure folks are relocated safely. So for PA2, the contractor has contacted 311. They did when they first started the project, when they first received notice to proceed. And then our CCL Nadine has also contacted the Department of Homeless Services, DHS, to discuss that with them. And the same thing will happen when PA1 comes on board. The CCL there will do the same steps and again, have ongoing conversations with DHS as needed. Our contractors here are used to working in the city, and this is a pretty common affair that they have to deal with. If there are any issues that the community sees, there is the DHS Homestat program. We provided the link here, and that is 24/7 outreach across all 5 boroughs. So, that is something that's a resource on their page. Okay, so soils and environment. So this is a very brief slide. Basically we have presented on this before, but we did just want to bring it up again because we have been receiving several questions on the environmental monitoring. So for PA1, again, the contractor is still in the site mobilization phase. He or they have been or will be submitting their monitoring plans. They are gathering all of that information up. And then the DDC construction, DDC safety, and the PMCM team will review the plans, the noise monitoring plans, the air quality plans, the site safety plans, to assure that they are in compliance with the city regulations, which we have presented in previous meetings. Ooh, excuse me. So just to reinforce kind of the enforcement portion of this, the monitoring plans, like I said, would be approved by DDC. The monitoring equipment has kind of an alerting system when thresholds are exceeded, and there is oversight of the construction activities. So there are on-site inspectors which will monitor the work, and there's an environmental specialist that will oversee the compliance. And again, we will come back with more information on that. So for Section 3 and MWBE, last week we had a very comprehensive meeting with the DDC Office of Diversity and Industry Relations. We do have our MWBE Section 3 subconsultant Trang Bui on the call if there are questions that come up in the Q&A session, but we are working to advance the preliminary strategy that we had begun in the pre-construction. We are now advancing that with these departments at DDC to to create these outreach events, small events with nonprofits, elected officials, NYCHA residents. As mentioned previously at past presentations, we have contacted the partnering organizations, Workforce One, NYCHA Reese, Hire NYC. These conversations have been ongoing. Again, a big part of the Section 3 and MWBE is the contractor's work plan, which again is in this month or so review process of him onboarding and then us reviewing all of the plans. So we are actively working again to bring some of the ideas that we had presented again in previous presentations to fruition now with the contractor on board, and when we hope to have a better understanding, or when we will have a better understanding of what his needs are on the project. And just to reiterate, the contractor is aware of the Section 3 and MWBE goals when he accepts the contract. That language is in the contract, and he or she is aware of that. So they already have MWBE folks on their team, and they have already started what this team is that they are. So I'm not going to go into all of the goals again. Trang did a great job of presenting that the last time we were here, but if there are any questions, she is on the call. And then again, just if you have any questions, and again, we really appreciate people using the inquiry tool. Some of the questions do involve a little bit more interagency coordination to get the right information to you. So we do appreciate you bearing with us as we answer your questions. So that is our hopefully short presentation for tonight. And Trevor, we can take any questions.
Thank you, Desiree, for that presentation. I think that's the shortest one we've had in 2.5 years. Let's see if we can get the questions in that same type of expediency. I think Kay was, let me just start by saying there is an additional community advisory group meeting, which is open to everyone, where they go into a little more depth about these questions. And I'm going to echo what Desiree said, to use that website to ask questions that might have a little more complexity, because you will get an answer. And they do compile all the questions and try and answer them. But just want to plug that in, because there are just about 2 meetings every month on this particular on the construction issues. That being said, let's start with Kay.
Yeah, thanks, Trevor, and thanks, Desiree. I did go to the website, and it says I should go to the next community board meeting for an update on the Lower East Side Ecology Center. And I got to tell you, and this is not to you personally, but I really do feel like we're being stonewalled, and I don't want to go to an advisory group, because we're a governmental body and we're the ones who are supposed to hear things so that we convey that to the rest of the community. And that's our due diligence, and we can't do it because we don't know. We don't seem to ever be getting a report on what is the status of the compost yard. Is its return assured? Have you met with the Lower East Side Ecology Center? And frankly, I think somebody from the community board should really be there. So I would like you to convey that. And it's not gone unnoticed with the composting community that this Parks Department is attempting to close another compost yard in Queens. And it starts to look like, and I know you're not Parks Department, but if they don't show up, who do we talk to? Who do we ask? And where do we get answers? So it looks to us like, the Parks Department, unbelievably in the middle of a climate emergency, all this is swell, but we're doing nothing that actually pushes back against climate change. I mean, we could mitigate from now till doomsday. That's not the same thing as actually deciding we're going to do something to change the outcome of what is going to be a disaster and already has been for many people. So I don't understand how this city does this. And I have to say, it makes me a little uncomfortable also that an organization that's been here for decades, that has been entirely successful by any measure in getting community engagement in parks, Parks Department staff has been slashed. This brings people, volunteers into a park to help care for it. And we don't have the luxury of turning away volunteers or dissing community groups that have done their very best to make this community a better place and a resilient one, and one that's actually forward thinking and considered a pilot for other cities across the United States. So, you know, to keep coming here and saying there's nobody here who can competently respond to a real question to guarantee the return of this. And frankly, I don't care if I take forever on this topic because it matters to the people here. So, you know, love the presentation, but I feel like, you know, it isn't answering any of the questions that I certainly have as somebody who's engaged in a park, cares about climate resiliency, cares about a park being accessible and good for people. This doesn't do it. So that is for you to convey in as nice a terms as you want to, or as crankily as I did. But I do appreciate your presentation and I do appreciate you. And I'm sorry you have to bear the brunt of this because you shouldn't.
Okay, thank you for your comment. And if you know that's okay, I will take it back. I'm taking notes, so I will take that back.
I appreciate that, Desiree.
Thank you. I think Val was next.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. I keep getting these emails that the project is being delayed in project area 1. So can you just speak to that? Because my concern is always protection, because when you talk project area 1, you're talking next to Baruch, Lillian Wald, Jacob Reese, which is low income NYCHA housing, which is a lot of African Americans, Latinos, etc. So I always get concerned when the delay is in the portion that concerns low income housing. So in terms of project area 1, is there a delay now, and can you explain that? And then just the other comment that I have is that in terms of doing outreach for jobs, what about outdoors in NYCHA parks? Because, you know, we're going to be in mask and whatnot. You need like 80 to 90% of people vaccinated in order to have herd immunity. So this is going to be a long time. So one of the things I would think about is outdoor NYCHA parks for outreach. But in terms of, and I think every time you come, because this just seems to be something I constantly get info about, is that the project area 1 is being delayed, not 2, where there's Peter Cooper Village and Stuyvesant Town, but 1 next to Baruch, Lillian Wald, Jacob Reese. So that's my question. Is there a delay? What's the timeline?
Sure. Thank you, Valentina. And I'm going to answer the second part first and then the first part. So for the MWB outreach, that, you know, we are exploring all options, both virtual and in person, for these, again, kind of smaller outreach opportunities. Okay. So that way we can be cognizant of, you know, the COVID pandemic, and we can keep everyone safe. You know, virtual would give us a little bit more opportunity to have more people. However, we do understand the boots on the ground outreach is extremely important. So we are looking at both alternatives for that. And again, we will come back with more information on that. And then as far as the PA1 schedule, the bid was received and the project is still moving forward, and we are in the procurement phase. I will turn it over to DDC if there is anything more to say. Otherwise, again, as we have been saying, it is still on schedule.
It's on schedule. Is that
Hi
what
everyone.
Saying?
Can everyone hear me?
Yes, Q, go ahead.
Oh, great. Yeah, I was having trouble with my mute button. Hi Val, it's Q from DDC. Yeah, our DDC's procurement phase for project area 1 is still ongoing, that process, and we'll come back with more details and information as soon as it becomes available. So
but is it on schedule? That's what keeps going out, is that it's been delayed.
We're still in our procurement phase. The procurement process is still ongoing. That's what's happening right now, as it has been. So we'll come back and give you more information when it's wrapped up.
Okay, and I guess the big, okay. I guess when you come back, the issue that everybody wants to hear, is it on schedule or not? That's it. Okay.
Q, I'm curious to the answer to this now because I've heard for the last 3 meetings that it's on schedule and that
Yeah.
the articles were, and I'm not getting that same definitive answer. So I guess my question to you is this project on schedule?
As of as of now, again, we're still in our procurement phase.
No, I understand
As of now, we
procurement.
are in-
Q, I don't want to get on the procurement. I'm just asking you a really simple question. The procurement is fine. I just want to know if it's on schedule.
As of today, we are on schedule. Again, this was our
Okay.
procurement schedule, and we're on our procurement schedule.
Okay, that's what I need to hear. Okay, thank you. The next person, do I have any more committee members who'd like to ask a question? Robin, go ahead.
Hi. You know, I feel like I don't know if my head's in the sand or something, but every time, you know, there's talk about things being posted and the emails and newsletters and all this stuff going out, I don't know any of it. So I mentioned this in the last meeting to Q about the fact that, you know, to not think of each section as its own thing and that it's one whole. And so when you're closing and doing notices about the pedestrian pathway and bike pathway being closed by Stuyvesant, which is Community Board 6, you know, it affects us down here in Community Board 3. So, you know, to think about the whole bikeway, you know, as one big unit. And so it'd be helpful. And certainly I would hate to be, and I think I've seen this before with even DOT, how they close streets. You know, you drive on a block, 2 blocks, and all of a sudden the street's closed and you have to leave. It'd be great if all these signs that you're talking about and these notices can go up, you know, all up and down the river from, you know, Montgomery north, so that people aren't surprised when they're walking or biking and all of a sudden they get up to, you know, the detour and maybe they could have done something else earlier. So that kind of thing, just to keep in mind. And if there's any way to, you know, I mentioned that to Q too, that, you know, please don't think that, you know, Stuyvesant Cove people just in that area should get a notice, that everyone, you know, up in front, everyone should be getting notices, you know.
Before you answer, Robin, I'm gonna ask a question. Are you getting the email notices?
No.
Okay, I think that's one of the main problems.
From DDC?
Yes, because we got a notification and I'm getting a bunch of notifications. So I think if they can start with that, either Q or Desiree, or how she needs to sign up to get those notifications.
It's not very clear on the website how to sign up for that. That should be the first thing on the website, saying sign up for email blasts, you know, it's hidden away. And also, you know, to maybe think of, you know, and this is just for people who are, you know, are connected that way. There are, you know, lots of seniors in our communities, all in Stuyvesant Town, all the way down, who do not use the internet, you know, and snail mail is a way to go. Postings up and flyers up in buildings is the way to go. I think that you guys were looking for somebody to do some flyering down here. I mean, that's the way to go, you know. And also, you know, but for those of us that are connected, you know, it would be really great to have an app, perhaps, that we can get notifications on our phones. A lot of people have phones, and getting notifications that way, it would be great. Something to think about.
Okay, great. So thank you, Robin. If from what I have up here on the, can you still see my screen?
No.
Or, oh, okay. Well, if you look on the, can I share my screen now?
Yeah, you can bring it up now.
Okay, great. So if you look, this is the homepage of the website here. And if you go to the contact.
I don't see your screen, but yeah.
Oh, sorry about that.
Okay.
I didn't see the button. Okay, can you see it now? Okay, so this is the homepage. Right. And right here where it says contact here, if you click there, then there's a place to sign up for the newsletter. There's 2 things. There's a contact us where you could leave an inquiry if you have an inquiry or a comment. And then I believe the second link down is to sign up for the project information. So you would go to that contact page, and I will tell you, I agree that we need a bigger button on that page that says like click here. So
if I'm an informed community member on the community board, on the Parks and Waterfront Committee, and I'm not knowing what's going on, imagine all of the people who are not as informed as me, who have no clue what's going on.
Sure, and I will add that as a comment from the last CB3 Parks meeting, there was a comment to add all of the block associations to the distribution list. So we did coordinate with Trevor and Susan to make sure that all of the block associations were added. So if you are a block association and your name or your email is on the CB3 community website and you are not getting a notification, please do let us know, or if you know someone else needs to be receiving it, because you could reach out to us directly and we could update that information in the system here. So I will say that we did update that to include all the block associations. If there are specific buildings that you want to get emailed the notification so that it can be posted, we could do that. Again, in regards to the posting along the Greenway, that was kind of the pedestrian scale notifications that we are looking to do. So that way it isn't just the DOT level signage, that it is more localized. And that's something that we do in coordination with the CCL. So again, as the detours take place, and again, we don't have a detour yet. So once we do, then we could start.
I'm just suggesting you expand your definition of what local means, and that since it's a bike way, a walkway, a runner's way, people are coming from both directions. So
yeah, we completely understand. Thank you for that. And if there's anything else that we could do, I will look at the button on the contact screen, because I agree. I think it could be a little bit bigger.
You could simply say what all arts organizations do, and that's my field, sign up for our emails, boom, and then it's very clear. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. I'm going to ask if there's any more committee members with some brief questions, and then I see 3 people who have their hands raised from the community who'd like to ask a question, and the timer clock is already put up. But I'm going to circle back to the committee members first. If not, I think I saw Christine first. So Christine, if you want, I think it's called iPhone Christine, but I think it's Christine.
Yeah, thank you, Trevor. Yeah, that's me, Christina Dutz Romero from the Lower East Side Ecology Center. And I just have a comment. Obviously, there is no update about the compost yard, which is really very disconcerting. We don't know when construction is starting. We have no place to go, and we absolutely have no communications with parks or with the mayor's office to sit down and to resolve this issue. And, it's just really hard to plan anything for your future as a group, as an organization, and not have any answers or any assistance and a way forward. So especially for our composting program, which is a very important program for this, for our organization and for this city. And it's very disappointing that we're not seem to get any movement there. The other question that I have, which I'm very confused about, is, and that's directly to Q, because he's saying procurement phase is still ongoing. Is there a contractor that you have picked now, or are you still bidding out the construction work for the area for East River Park? Thanks.
Sure. Hi, Christine. So on the last question, no, the contractor has not been selected yet. This, again, the selection, the procurement process for Project Area 1 is still ongoing. So once we reach that milestone, we'll be sure to inform everybody here.
I think, Q, it might be helpful if you explain to people what the procurement process is. Like, what are you doing during procurement?
Well, I believe we had a pretty in-depth slide or presentation a few months back that was a step-by-step explanation. I don't want to get too far into details with that. That's up on the website, and we really added a lot of information to that particular presentation that time for folks to use as a resource and a reference to go back and read. But essentially, in a nutshell, a bid package is finalized by the design team, is reviewed by multiple units at DDC, and it's put out to bid. It's public to contractors out there. They review it. Within a certain period of time, they send back some questions and requests for clarifications. DDC works through, answer those questions and clarifications. So there's a period of back and forth there to clarify any areas of that bid package that was not clear, with drawings and specifications that was sent out. And towards the end of that period, the contractors submit their bids. DDC receives them. After a little bit of time, those bids are opened. We go into bid analysis, and we pull in our experts within the agency and from our consultant teams, both on the design and construction side. Collectively, we all review it and make sure it's in compliance with what's required, and they've submitted all the documents that was asked to, and the lowest bidder from that sort of pool gets selected and awarded the contract. Once that award is announced, then we go into the last phase of this sort of procurement phase, which entails registering the contract. So our contracts and ACO team within the agency, they start working to register the contract, which takes a certain period of time, and then towards the end of that, a notice to proceed is issued, and that notice to proceed gives the green light to the contractor to sort of initiate their first steps of sort of preparing to get their staff together and their work plans and everything. And then with DDC's green light, their very first day of construction is determined and given to the contractor. So that's a pretty high level step-by-step process. And right now with project area 1, we're sort of at that juncture of still receiving bid review and bids being coming in and receiving bids. We haven't finalized that bid process, that bid phase yet.
Okay, thank you, Q. We have one other item on our agenda, the New York City Soccer Initiative, but before we go to that item, I see 2 last questions on this particular agenda item. So I'm going to go to Tommy, and Fanny, you can cue yourself off after Tommy finishes.
Thank you, Trevor. First of all, I want to let people know at the CAG, which we had last week, the borough president announced that Commissioner Silver of the Parks Department has said no way for composting in the park. She repeated that several times. So I think it's time that the community board put some pressure on the local elected officials who all made commitments on the composting to put some pressure on the city, because that's what she said. Secondly, they didn't put up the slide of the temporary bike lane detour, which I find interesting, because at Community Board 6, all bike traffic is going to be rerouted on Houston Street and then up First and Second Avenues. And they, for some reason, didn't show you guys that slide, and I'm wondering why not. And lastly, Q, 5 times the bids have not been opened and the bid period has been extended. When will the bids actually be opened? And can you please tell us what is being negotiated? What accommodations or what issues are the contractors raising with you? Because all we get is the bid has been delayed. The bid has been delayed. You're discussing issues with the contractor. What issues? And when will the bid, so you keep saying the project is not delayed. When will the bid be opened?
So going backwards, again, I can't give you any more details than I already have. I know those were not details, but we're still in the procurement and bid process. And once I have more information to provide you, we'll come back and do so. And we're not negotiating with contractors. There is no negotiation going on right now because the contractors have not put in their bids. We're not there yet. We don't negotiate with contractors during the bid process. They submit a clarification request for something that may have not been clear enough in the drawings or in the bid package or in the specifications. And we're legally required to respond to that to clarify so they can put in their bid accordingly. So there's no direct negotiations going on with the contractor. And then to your second point with the bike lane, that there's no reason why we're not hiding anything. That bike lane, that bike detour that you're referencing is on the Community Board 6 presentation that we provided to them on Monday, and it's up on the website. Happy to pull it up right now and show everybody. It's a public document, but it's a Community Board 6 area specific. Okay.
Sure, I could take over if you want. So
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, if you want me to share my screen again, I certainly can pull that up. However, we do mention in this presentation that route is being reconsidered to. Sorry, I lost my share screen button. Oh. Okay.
At the bottom.
Yep. Got it. Okay. So 2. Okay. Oops. Okay. So backwards. So this is the bike lane slide in our presentation. So I have here the Houston Street to 38th Street via 1st and 2nd Avenue, which is what we presented at the CB6. So it was Houston up here, and then 1st and 2nd Avenue, and then East 38th Street. I can certainly bring that up again if you would like to see it. It is the first bullet here, though. That is the Greenway detour that is in the mass mailing and in the PA2 drawings. That was set again during the design phase. Right now, since the Greenway is only this local closure here, we're reconsidering this in coordination with DOT and the contractor to kind of make that closure a little bit more localized, that reroute more localized to the specific project area, so that folks don't have to take that longer route. So the advisory, again, just a reminder, the advisory went out yesterday and today to alert people that there will be a detour, and we are, again, actively, literally calls with DOT and with the contractor, figuring out and discussing what that safest new detour could be for this kind of localized shutdown or closure of the Greenway. So Tommy, I hope that answered your question. I could certainly pull up the other one if you want me to, but it is, we did show that at CB6. And then since then we have been, coordinating with DOT, so.
I'm going to leave it there since there are 2 more, and we're going to close it after that. But I do think that in January, we probably have to have a little more in-depth discussion on the progress of ESCR overall. I know there's some outstanding questions about procurement. I don't want another lesson in the procurement process, but we just need to know where this project is. So I know, Desiree, you do a pretty good job of you do a good job, not pretty good, a good job of taking back our concerns. So that is a concern to sort of construct the next presentation on where for PA1 we are. I'm going to end this with, because we need to go to the soccer pitch with Fanny and then Kay from the community board, and we're going to end it there. So Fanny, if you want to go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, hi, I have a really quick question. So for project area 1, we noticed that bid is no longer listed in the open bids page. I mean, we're just curious, like, what happened to it? And, especially since Q just finished saying that you're not in negotiations with any contractors. So we just want to know what happened to it.
Sure, and I mean, Q can jump on again, but I think we really don't have anything else to say about the bid for PA1 right now. I think Q has probably exhausted all he does need to say for that right now. So again, we will take all of this back. We do understand your concerns, and Trevor, unless you want us to go on more about it, I'll just.
I mean,
No, Fanny, hold on. Fanny, hold on. I understand what you're saying, and I'm gonna, based on this discussion, we're gonna move this into a little bit more detail for next month. And I hear you, and I see other hands. We're gonna go to Kay, and then we're going to the next agenda items. Okay.
Yeah, I think I've moved from concern to DEFCON 3. To hear that at an advisory board meeting, we're the community board. We're supposed to hear what's going on. So it lends credence to the idea that this Parks Department, your partner, you know, you're the city, you're the administration. You know, I would like to have us request elected officials show up here and tell us what is going on with the compost. You know, this, you know, we deserve to have a straight answer of a community resource that's been here since before some people were born here. So, you know, this is insulting. This is insulting to this body, because we have due diligence that we're supposed to do, and we don't have direct, straight information from this administration. And I got to tell you, on the Lower East Side, this doesn't play well, and this hasn't been playing well for a whole lot of things that this administration has done, having nothing to do with you, but this is not going well. And if this, you know, we have had run-ins with this commissioner before on issues that the community said, don't lower our fences. I happen to be the president of a coalition of a park that has an open, no fences, and it's a nightmare. You heard Jamil talking about the shape of that park. So we keep getting ignored for the things that we know. This community knows things, and the arrogance to come here and not tell us that there's no plan for a compost to be returned, and hear it secondhand innuendo from our borough president and not from the Parks Department. Your partner, you have a responsibility. If these were my partners, you better believe I'd make them show up next time. So please do that.
Trevor, Katie Lowe from Councilmember Rivera's office is here, as well as Chantel from Senator Kavanaugh's office, and they both want to speak.
Mike, very, very quickly, I'm sorry to cut in here, but just on behalf of our colleagues from Parks, one of our colleagues was planning to join us tonight, and to their defense, she had a last-minute family emergency that literally came up an hour before this meeting.
Don't do that, Q. Don't do that. You can have the ability to have people show up here who know things.
Okay, let's hold on, because I think we don't even have parks here, and I think it's unfair. But what I'd like to do, because we've written a number of resolutions on this item, and I don't know how much more we can do as a community board. I know most of us on this call are some form of activists in their own way, that it might require some other action. I think, I know Christine is well aware of, you know, different things to do, but I'm not going to suggest other action, but I think that might be necessary. But Michael, you mentioned that there were two reps.
Katie Lowe from Councilmember Rivera's office can't speak, but she sent me a link to the city council hearing on composting. And so I just sent that out to everybody else in the chat. So there is a city council hearing on composting, and the link is in the chat box. But Chantel from Senator Kavanaugh's office does want to say something.
Chantal, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes just because we really need to move on to our next agenda item. And I think we need to think about the next steps for the issue with the compost yard. But Chantal, go ahead.
Sure, I will make this quick, and I apologize for Toy Story 2 blasting in the background. I, in concert with our government partners, our city council partner, Katie Lowe, who's on the call, we have asked repeatedly to get some resolution over this as soon as 7 days ago, 10 days ago, and 30 days ago. We're still awaiting a response, in addition to a letter that our office sent back in August that we are still waiting a response for. So it is not only the community board who is being stonewalled, and we are working together to try and resolve that issue. And we've been working with Christine in concert as well. So I just want to know that your grievances are heard and your frustration is heard, and we are experiencing them as well.
Thank you. I believe that Katie mentioned that she can talk. I'm not sure if she can talk now. But if Kate, if you want to make a brief statement.
I don't think she can.
Okay. So I'm going to ask the team.
You would have to unmute. She's muted.
No, she can't talk. Whatever she is, she literally in the text said to me, "I'm sorry, I can't talk."
Okay, let's do this. So there's some issues that we need to bring to our January Parks and Waterfront meeting, but we really need to get to the next item, which I'm sure everyone is here for, and that's New York City Soccer Initiative proposal for a soccer pitch at the Lillian Wald Playground at PS 188. I don't know who's presenting. Michael, do you know who's presenting for this?
Efron Ahmed.
Hello.
Hi. Hi, Efron.
You can hear me. How are you guys doing? Such a pleasure to be back at your community board. And I look forward to presenting this pitch. And I hope we approach it with fresh minds. I know it's been a really ruckus evening, so I look forward to presenting this. But let me begin by, can I share my screen to show the presentation?
Give me 2 seconds and you'll be able to.
While he's giving you 2 seconds, can you introduce yourself, Efron?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, so my name is Irfan Ahmed. I'm the Senior Programs Policy Manager at the Mayor's Fund to Advance New York City, and I'm the lead of the New York City Soccer Initiative. I'm joined with our partner, Paul Jeffries from the New York City Football Club. Paul, do you introduce yourself?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Yeah, Paul Jeffries. I oversee the club's community department, as well as the Executive Director of the foundation, City in the Community.
Lovely, thank you. And we also have, I believe, Parks Department, Jamil's there maybe, maybe not. And is the principal on the call? Okay.
Jamil is still on, by the way.
Jamil's there, I see him. Okay, great. So it's okay. Am I ready to go?
Yes, you are.
Lovely, thank you. Let me just share this right here. Go to the top. Okay, so can everyone see it?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic, I'll get started. My goal is to beat Desiree's clock, so I'll see if I can get this presentation through quickly. So the New York City Soccer Initiative, what is it? So we started this initiative in 2016. The goal is to build 50 acrylic mini soccer pitches throughout the city of New York, in partnership with 5 of these guys. So we've got my office, the U.S. Soccer Foundation, New York City Football Club, who's with us today, Adidas, and Etihad Airways. All of this is private funding. It's not city funding. It's a charitable donation in support of the residents of the city of New York. So these are our partners. The initiative is to build 50 soccer fields. That is over the course of 5 years. We have now entered the 5th and final year of the initiative. The initiative comes with a maintenance fund of $600,000, which means that when the pitch is used, we draw down on these funds to fix, repair, and maintain the fields per the request of the city agency partner or the school in which the pitch sits at. With that said, these are the city partners, our lovely, amazing partners, Parks Department, who's been amazing to us for the past 4 years, the New York City Housing Authority, and the New York City Department of Education. These are the people with the largest share of public land, and therefore we work with them. We do this on public land, not private land, because it is, again, a gift for the people of New York. So this initiative would be fun with the amenity, but it's also not an initiative if it doesn't come with something special. And I think the special thing is the programming. Now, the programming I have up here is from one of the partners, which is the U.S. Soccer Foundation, who is not here with us today, which is fine. But essentially, they offer free after-school programming in partnership with DYCD. They call it Soccer for Success. It's a free program where kids get training, free gear, and as you can see, it happens 3 days per week, 24 weeks per year. But we also have New York City. I'm sorry. We also have the New York City Football Club, who also offers, so we not only have one free after-school program offered by the U.S. Soccer Foundation, but we have the amazing partners of the New York City Football Club who also offer their program and services. And I want to pass it to Paul for a few minutes to talk a little bit about their programming, the stuff they've been doing in the community, and their impact. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, no, so through our foundation, we've been delivering free in-school, after-school programs for over 10 years. And through this initiative, I know that there's a desperate need for safe spaces to play, and creating those spaces, enabling other local community-based organizations to deliver their programs. But We do offer a number of programs that are free from as young as 5 up to 24. I suppose the main focus for this community and this school, the local schools, is the health and education programs. One is there's a free 10-week program that provides free instruction for soccer, but also is more intentional with its health and nutrition education through a workbook and curriculum. We also have a robotics program, a soccer robotics program, where we donate robots to local schools. In some cases, we've helped them launch a STEM after-school club. This teaches kids, gives them exposure to STEM, but they build the robots, they code the robots, they then compete against other schools to train the robots to do a variety of skills or play one-on-one soccer on a mini soccer pitch. But I could share a link in this chat room with videos for a number of these different initiatives, but ultimately we're very focused on providing free access to soccer and using the power of the game to connect kids into opportunities to inspire them for academic and college and career readiness.
Thank you very much, Paul. I really appreciate that. I'm going to keep moving along. So this is why we're here, right? So we've been doing this for 5 years, and we're so happy to have worked with you in the past. In year 1, which is 2017, we came and presented to your community board for PS 184 Shuang Wen. There was a little issue at Shuang Wen because there was a capital project already in process. The capital project is done, and therefore we can resume our work, and our goal is to finish Shuang Wen this year. We've got the green light, we're ready to go. But in 2019, sorry, we came back and we presented PS 142 Amalia Castro, which we got unanimous support from your community board. Thank you again for that. We know this is a separate pitch, but we just want to thank you for that. The principal was so kind to share a space for the pitch. So we were so happy to do it for them. And we held a beautiful ribbon cutting. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see it. But here we are again, proposed space for a mini pitch. It's at Wald Playground, which is a jointly operated playground with PS 188, the Island School. Now, when we went out here, we obviously, this is a proposal to the community board. You know, we want to get your support in order to move forward with this, but just to give you a description of what's happening on the ground. We visited this area. There's a basketball court. I don't know if you can see my mouse, but there's a basketball court right around there. See that? Right there. That's where it is. It's the corner. I don't know if you can see my mouse going over it. But essentially, there is a basketball court there. We're going to preserve the basketball court. We asked the school, what's happening in this area? What's going on? They said they don't really use the running track. They really don't. They just really run around a lot. But a soccer field would be a great asset for our kids. Now, this is a school that has a large population of its children, according to them, and the letter of support that I provided to your school. I hope to your team. I hope you guys got it. I sent it by email. If not, I can resend it again. But the letter of support indicates the need of their children in this neighborhood, in this community. And the moment this was presented to them, they said, absolutely, we love it. And the opportunity to get the kids into the wonderful after-school programs we just mentioned. We went out here, we look obviously for empty asphalt spaces because our fields are composed of acrylic. It's not turf, it's not grass, it's acrylic. It's actually the best way to build urban soccer pitches in small areas and tight areas like this. So essentially, we will utilize the existing fencing. We'll probably build a back fence where this yellow line is down here. If you can see my mouse right around here. We're going to build a little back fence there for 8 feet. We will indeed cover the running track because it's really underutilized. Barely anyone uses it. And we will cover the rest of we will paint over the rest of the running track for aesthetic reasons. But we will build that fence and we will bolt down the goalposts on opposite ends. So I can give it that look. It's safe because number one, that's a requirement, it has to be bolted down. And two, it will have an acrylic overlay, which is blue with the Partners logo and the Parks logo. So the goal is that we can do this project. The school absolutely wants it and is begging for it, actually. We didn't expect such excitement. But it's very interesting that you guys talk about drugs and syringes in your community, because when we speak to schools in the areas across the 5 boroughs, they often mention if there's activity, you can prevent those things from happening. This is from their perspectives. So I found that interesting, and I see a connection between the two with this pitch. Anyway, here it is. Here's the goalpost. It'll take us 3 weeks. That's all we need. 3 weeks, warm weather, and we can knock it out. This is the final year of the initiative. We are very gung-ho about making this happen through all the hell that we've been living through for the past year. We really want to make this possible for you and your community. This is the before and after. The good news is you're not really losing anything. In some cases, we unfortunately have to give up a basketball court, but in this case, as you can see up here, it's just an empty space. The basketball court on the side here will remain, which the kids love, so that's good news. We'll run a 4-foot fence this way to protect from ball splash. It's a safety thing, but you'll have a soccer amenity in this empty space, and with it, you'll have the basketball court. So I hope that is helpful. That is the end of this presentation, and I hope I broke Desiree's record. But anyway, look forward to question and answers. Look forward to working with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Efron, for that and for that presentation. Just a couple of things. I don't know if we got that letter of support from the school or the principal. Who did you send that to? Just to the community board?
Yeah, I sent it to the community board along with the presentation, but I can resend it again. I sent it to Susan Stetzer.
Yeah, I didn't get it. I can check with Susan, but we didn't get that.
I'm sorry.
That would be very helpful.
I'm sorry, I'll send it again.
Right, and are you seeking a resolution tonight?
Yes, we would love to have your resolution, your backing to make this happen. Again, it's the final year of the initiative, so thank you.
Yeah, it's just that I don't have any material, and your timing for this is.
Right. So if let's just assume the community board supports this and you get me a letter of support by January, I can get the drawings into the Public Design Commission in February. They approve by March, and we can get started as early as April. And the goal is to get started as soon as possible. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So first, I have some more questions, but I see some community members have raised their hand.
Please.
First one, I see you, Michael. First one is Troy, Carlin, and then Michael.
Yes, thank you for the pitch. I have a question. I know we talked about going to the schools and getting information from the schools on the kids and the after-school centers. How about the kids that play in that park from the community? I know on the weekends that park is heavily used by the local community. Do you have any programs in place for the local community?
Our programs are really just for soccer. I don't know of anything else that happens there. That's a Parks Department question because they permit that space out. We just follow their lead in saying this could be a good place to do it. So I hope that answered your question. Our programs will be just for soccer.
I think what he's saying or asking is if there can be outreach done to the community. You have outreach and support to the school.
Oh yeah. Yes. If you have
and the programming for just local youth who might want to use it, because sometimes it appears that this is only for the school children.
Oh yes, I'm so sorry. Yeah, so the goal of this project isn't just to limit it to the school. That's a great question. We would love to connect with the community board and any other organizations in the area that you think we should work with to recruit those kids. And Paul and his organization could also lead on that effort. Paul, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And actually, I'm glad that you raised that because if you've got any thoughts and ideas about what programming and for what age groups and at what times and days, we'd love to design something that is really tailored for that community. But yes, there is something in the summer which is called Soccer Block. We actually train and develop high school kids to work alongside our coaches. So it's a summer employment program to help deliver free programs in the community on park sites. It's also a partnership with City Parks Foundation. That is a 5-week program that happens from 9 to 3. But if that is of interest to the community, then there's other offerings. I could speak a lot about the different programs, but the feedback and the needs would be really helpful for us to see how we can best tailor and allocate the resources and what will make the most impact.
Well, I think there's a connection right there with Troy, but if you could send Paul also your information to the community board. I know Troy's very well connected in the community, and this might be an excellent programming so that we have that information.
Yeah, I'll send
Thank you, Trevor.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Troy.
Sorry, Troy, to add another program to your schedule, but
no, we do soccer in my park.
I think Carlin was next. Yes, Carlin.
Yeah, hi. I missed the first minute of your presentation, but this soccer field pitch is going to be open to the public, all right, outside of school hours, and it's going to be the ground itself is administered by the New York City Parks Department.
Yes.
So okay, so are leagues going to be allowed to apply for playing time at this? I mean, I know you have no control over. But previously, anytime a soccer field is installed anywhere, Parks Department always leases it out to leagues, which kind of takes away from community use who do not play soccer. All right, so I have a serious concern about that.
That's a great question. That is definitely a Parks Department question. For us, it's a gift. And we know that at least for the limited hours that the school has access to it, we know that those kids will be using it. The good news is that we have other pitches in the area. So indeed, if there's a load management issue, those pitches can take that up. But the good news is that the hours are limited. So, we can talk to the Parks Department about, prioritizing, our programming as well to give, the direct services to the children of your community. And hopefully with Troy's organization, we can also work with them to further program that area. So, this is a first step. Let's give it a chance and see where we can take it from there. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. I'm going to mention something like
Well,
that.
I have a follow-up now that he mentioned
Sure.
something about them having other pitches in the immediate area.
Yes.
What has the history of the use of those pitches been? Has there been permitted leagues playing in there, dominating the time and kind of more or less monopolizing that space?
Thank you, Carl. That's a great question. So we've only built 2 pitches in your neighborhood. One pitch at your neighborhood. The other pitch is 184 Shuang Wen. We couldn't proceed with Shuang Wen in 2017 because there was another construction project happening simultaneously. So we had to put our project on hold, but we're still committed to doing it, and we will actually get started in 2021. We're clear to go. So that's great news. So as far as usage there, I don't know. But what I've been told by every school that we built at, they said that we offer permits to local CBOs that want to use it. So if it's a DOE site, it's not park. So DOE is a little bit more restrictive according to my experience, which I've been throughout the city looking at. And they have that way of doing things. We don't change rules or policies. That's just the way it is. The other one is 142 Amelia Castro. They too offer permits, but I haven't seen leagues use it, to be honest with you. It's always been just local kids and local nonprofits that operate out of the school. That's what I've seen and heard. Thank you.
Thank you, Irfan. Valentina Jones?
Yeah, I guess following up on what they're saying, one of the things that has often been said here about the different activities in these parks is a concern for priority for local youth and a concern for it being affordable to local youth. And the other thing is when you talk about reaching out, you're going to be in Lillian Wald houses across the street from Baruch houses and across the street from Jacob Reese. So I would hope that you would reach out to the management and resident leaders of the developments that are right over there. So that's really my suggestion, is reach out to them, and that the youth in this community have a priority, and that the fees, if there's any fees, that they be waived for the youth of this community. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. No, that's a great point, actually. And thank you for bringing that up. It's funny enough, we actually are talking to Nigel a lot. And what happened with Nigel in the past couple of years, if you haven't been watching in terms of his leadership, there's been a lot of turnover, a lot. It's been hard to keep up with them. But
okay.
Yeah, but in terms of recently, we've been working very closely with them, and they know us, they know our work, they love our work. And so we know about that space, and we brought that to their attention. We're like, hey, we're working with the school, but we also are working with Nigel leadership to say, hey, can we engage those residents? And there are no fees, just to be clear, all free. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael, I didn't forget you, but I did, but go ahead.
That's all right. So I want to change the topic a little bit, because what I'm concerned about is the loss of the track, and the fact that what you're relying on to decide that track is not usable is the school, and not the way the community is using that track. I know, when the East River track was under construction, that track got used heavily, and we're going to lose that East River track again for who knows how long of a period of time, and people are going to be looking for another track. So I love this program. I'm not saying a soccer field shouldn't go there, but what I would love to see is what's done in a lot of other playgrounds, is that a track be wrapped around the soccer field so that there is something that people can run if the soccer field isn't being used for other reasons.
I think that's a great question. One of the biggest problems with this project is that we try our best to look for empty asphalt spaces that have the perfect surface for us to work. And sometimes it's unfortunate we have to propose, and this is a proposal, to propose things that I know could conflict with other amenities in the area. But what our hope is that you can see that based on the people on the ground, not us, we learn from the people on the ground, which is the school that uses it the most. Says to us, hey, it's worth it because the impact that it will have on the children, which by the way are mostly children living in shelters. I don't know if people knew that. There's a lot of kids living in shelters. So we were very moved by that, and we felt a sense of mission to do this. The principal also made the point that people can also run around the playground itself, because just because there's fences, that doesn't mean you can't run around it as well. And just because there's in line. So that was a point that she made. I thought that was interesting. I wish she was on the call to make that point, but that's what she made to me. So I get it. And we're just hoping that you could see the benefits of this project. And,
yeah, no, I totally see the benefits of it. What I'm asking is if, so if there is a path that people can run around that the principal has identified, if, as an extra sort of gift to the community with the soccer field, if you can spend, a couple of $100 extra and maybe paint whatever that path is, so people know, hey, here's a path you can run, because people might not be as imaginative as that principal is and see that as a running path.
It's a fair point. It's a totally fair point. I'm glad you're asking that question, because I'm a fundraiser and we would do the same. Unfortunately, the dollars have to be allocated to soccer because it is a donation. And so we have to respect those terms. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you. Thank you for that suggestion, though. It's a good point.
Can we go back to Troy? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Trevor, I just want to go back to something that was just said by Michael and Ahmad. There is no run space outside of that park. Both sides of the gate, when you go to Houston Street, when the school is closed, they're closed. It's not even a walking path anymore. So Michael's correct. If we could probably put the track back somehow, I know that there's hundreds of kids on the weekends in that park. And even after school, if you go there 4 or 5 o'clock, especially in this climate with the pandemic, they're utilizing that park heavily, and to take that much space away from them is probably going to be a detriment to that park.
Sure.
I know we're adding something.
Troy, let me ask you a real quick question, because my impression of these fields is that it doesn't take away. It's just, it's still space. It's not something they can't use.
Yeah, but
it's
right? Fenced in now.
Is that correct, Irfan? It's completely fenced in?
Well, yes, because for safety reasons, we're trying to prevent false.
But is it open? Is it open for use, or is it locked?
Oh no, you can. It's totally open. If you access that playground, and you want to play roller hockey on it. We're not here to monitor what you're doing.
Okay.
This is a gift. So.
All right. I'm just going to go from our experience. I mean, these have been gifts to our neighborhood, and it's really hard to. And I understand it's a change of space, but it's still open. That we kind of want to see these in our neighborhood, and usually the schools and the surrounding community are in favor of this. So I hear folks' concern, but if there is letters of support, it's really hard to say no to something they want to put in our community, which it doesn't. I mean, it affects the space, but it gives the kids in that school an opportunity to have a different type of field. Kay, I see you unmuted yourself. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if we could have that letter forwarded right now to you,
Right.
Because the letter of support we actually don't have in front of us.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and I mean, it's this is similar to another case. I can't remember the playground, but that we had about a year or so ago, where all of the support came from the school, and there was no outreach or support from the community. And we asked them to go back and bring us support from the community. And so, if we're making a decision based on what the school wants rather than what the school and the community wants, then I can't. I mean, as great of a project as I think this is, then I can't support it if it's just the school.
Irfan, are you? I mean, we can do a conditional type of resolution based on you getting support from the local community. I know that Val mentioned some of the NYCHA projects which are around that area. I know that might be difficult in a pandemic to get support, but are you willing to do that?
Yes. I mean, we're not here to make things difficult. We want to talk to you. This is why we're here. We're trying to learn about what your connections are. So if you want to connect us to people that we should talk to, we're happy to talk to them. We also will work with NYCHA to connect with the local residency, and I will forward you that letter of support from the school.
All right, so I think the first step would be to connect with NYCHA to get the folks who are in leadership there. I know there's some folks on this call who could probably help with that reach out, or at least give you names. They're not gonna make the phone calls. And that might give you a start, but we can do something conditional on that. Thank you, Michael, for that point and remembering that particular resolution that we wrote. Val?
Yeah, I was just going to say that in terms of NYCHA that you're in Lillian Wald. So you would connect with them. And then across the street is Baruch. And then the next project up is Jacob Reese. So, I mean, I think those three, if you're talking to NYCHA, those are the three that you definitely want to get.
Thank you, Val.
Okay.
The other issue I have, and this is relating to 184, which I know had a capital construction project, which actually finished. Unfortunately, it has not been open to the public since it's finished. It's a brand new TBL playground. It is not open to the public. It hasn't been. There's a big chain with a big fancy lock on it. We're probably going to talk about that at next month's community board. I remember the pitch for that particular school. It was received well. The principal and the kids wanted it, and the community was in support of it. Unfortunately, that came with a locked gate. So, and I know that's not your particular area, but it is a concern of the neighborhood that this soccer pitch is installed and that the school locks it for just private use. But this is a different type of playground, so I hope that doesn't happen here.
Absolutely not. We would encourage parks not to do that. I mean, it's a different land, so definitely.
Correct, different.
Yeah, we agree.
I'm going to go to the two questions from our community members, and then we're going to see if we can fashion some. I wasn't expecting to do this on the spot, and then see if I can draw up some bullet points for us to draft into a resolution. But I'm going to go to Wendy first, and then there's someone on the phone ending in 719 if you want to prep yourself, but wait for Wendy to finish her question.
It's David.
Hi, my name is Wendy. My office is half a block from where you're talking about. So my office is on East 3rd Street between Avenues C and D. And I walk through Lillian Wald several times a week going to East River Park. I come and I'm wondering exactly where this is. Is it right by the school? That playground that's right next to the school?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. I want to say right now it's a miserable experience to walk through Lillian Wald and all of Baruch and Reese because of the fencing for all the FEMA work that's underway right now. So anything would be better than what we have right now. And I know it's going to be someday restored, but people have no green space, and right? So, and we've lost so many trees, especially at Baruch. So I want to say that if there can be some planting that comes along with it. So shade will be important for soccer players in the future. And, you know, make it a green space as well. I am concerned also, I want to say this year I broke my hip a little bit. And I walk more slowly. And I noticed how many other people are using canes, have walkers. There's a lot of people right there, like there's senior homes on the other side of Avenue D, lots of people who come through there. So I want to say that the runners need space. They're on the sidewalk with the walkers. And especially around that area, because I walk on Houston often too, it's very tight. DOT right now is planning bike lanes on Houston Street. Maybe this community board can get behind the idea of there being a running lane on the street as well. We have parking lining, we have cars stored there. We have other options. Yes?
Thank you. The 2-minute clock is in the red, so.
I see it. And thank you for letting me speak on this. I feel really strongly about it, that we have to be thinking about everything we can do, like Kay said, about climate change. So every project should have a green benefit to it. Thank you.
David, I would have picked you first, but I think Michael just changed your name. So David, go ahead. David is a community board member. David, go ahead.
I'm faced with a weak Wi-Fi, so I keep losing connections.
The question is, he said it's something about a timeline that he wants to follow or has to follow. And if we grant the community support, will that affect the timeline? Or if we put into the resolution, depending upon, and he only has a week before the full board to get the community support.
Want me to answer that? Yes. Okay. Thank you, David. That's a great question. And thank you, Wendy, for your point. Can I just respond to Wendy's point real quick, if that's okay? You know, the thing is that you have funders in your backyard. This is really important. Funders who care. And so you have NYCFC who just talked about programming and STEM. So the idea of green work and green planting and anything like that, you can find innovative ways to work with our partners to put those ideas together. I'm just leaving it out there. All right. So think about it that way. The Bronx always loves this idea, and that's where they are. The Bronx has done so many innovative ideas out there. So, David, sorry.
I want to just mention the Design Trust had a whole project at Lillian Wald. I moved in here 5 years ago, and I went to the community meetings about a green space right next to the school that has never been completed. It's never even been started. So the design is there. There's a whole community visioning around it. It's between 3rd and 4th Street, or maybe it's at 4th and 5th, but right over here. So maybe there's a way to get that going at the same time. Who knows, since you have such a good line on funders. My nonprofit does not, but we do green work all over, and I'd be delighted to talk with you. So I'll put I can see your name here. I'll just give you my email.
Thank you very much. I used to be a green gorilla. I don't know if people know what that is, but we used to go around planting. Yeah, so you guys know as a youth, so I know where you're coming from, and trust me, if I have the opportunity to push this or I meet the right people, I'll push that idea forward. I got you. Yeah, there you go. David, so real quick, yes, so with your resolution, let's say I will absolutely follow through on whatever was recommended here. We'll talk to the NYCHA, those 3 NYCHA places, we'll absolutely do that. But if you give me a resolution that says, hey, we're for it, we want you to move forward on this, we can get the drawings into PDC January, February. They take a month. They take a sweet month. I don't know why. To approve by March. And then when April hits, when the weather gets better, we want to be out there and get the project done. The reason why I move so quickly is that this is the final year of the administration. I don't know what's going to happen to my future. I'll be honest. I don't know what's going to happen, but I do know that if the time that I have, I want to move quickly and get the job done. That's why we did 37 fields in 4 years, and we're going to get 13 more done to hit 50, and we're going to make sure they're all programmed and you guys are happy with the end product. And I would just like to say, if you question me on any of these points, feel free to reach out to the community boards. We've been active in working with them, getting their support and getting the job done. Wherever there's been vandalism, we've been responsive. And we've only had 1 case of vandalism out in Queens. I don't know why. But anyway, so thank you very much. I hope that answered your question, David.
Well, it depends. If we do put in a resolution for community support by the 17th, is it possible?
Ron, you muted yourself.
So sorry. Yes, for sure. If I can get that by the 17th, we're looking good in terms of timing. Very good.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and do this because I just wrote down as many bullet points as I could from listening to folks about concerns. But these are generally good for our neighborhood, especially for the schools and especially for a school of that type and the programming that we'll bring for a lot of those kids who do live in shelters. And I'm just going to read these off because we're going to have to technically vote on this. And I'm just going to call the team, meaning Efron and Paul and their groups will need to go to the surrounding NYCHA properties. We can identify them later, but the surrounding NYCHA properties, including tenant leaders, to get a letter of support and do some outreach. They're going to also, and I'll check with Susan, to get the letter of support from the principal and I know it's not called the PTA, someone correct me, what's it called now? I call it the PTA.
Depends, it's parents associations or.
Say it again?
I think it's still the PTA.
Okay, PTA, the parents and the teachers, or the parents and the.
It might just be a parents association. They've kind
Parents
of.
Association.
Yeah.
We'll get the right wording. I'm just doing this and I'm hoping I need for committee members to listen. That
PTA, still PTA.
PTA.
Yeah.
That the There is priority for local community youth. I think that's very important, and I think the team can make sure that's highlighted. It is free and it remains free for the students. You mentioned that you have a maintenance budget, I think of 600,000. We want all that money to be spent in Community Board 3. Just kidding, but we'd like, we have challenging playgrounds in this area, and Kay can tell you all about them. So I think the maintenance, we really need to shift this way, just to let you know. And we really like, I mean, we don't want the space programmed at all times, but I think it's important for there to be a balance of programming for kids. I know I grew up playing sports, and I think it's critical to have some programming. It gives you some sort of structure, something to do, but also for kids to just play, you know, use the space. And it's a new space, so they will use it. I will talk to you offline about another particular space, which I think could be programmed and used for use. It's underneath the FDR, by the way. It's a new pitch, but it's not used at all.
Trevor, I would add to that the programming needs to be for the students in the community as well as the students from the school.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of a better way to say that. The program needs to be for local youth in the neighborhood.
For all children, that's all.
For all children.
Yeah,
for all children.
All children, regardless of whether or not they go to that school.
For all local children, regardless of whether they attend that school or they attend any school in the district. Is there anything anyone?
Sure, I also think that one of the issues become prioritizing children in this particular district, because that's been one of the big issues with the whole East River Park.
You said that already.
Huh?
You said that already. That was a bullet already. It's in there.
What, that this neighborhood is prioritized?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's probably the first and the largest bullet we're going to write, because I think it's important, especially considering that school itself.
Okay. Yeah, because that school, a lot comes from not this area.
So Trevor, if we're asking that this be available to kids who aren't in school, and this is a school property, then the question about access would have to be part of this somehow.
I believe this is just a Parks Playground.
Parks Playground.
Parks Playground.
Oh, so they, okay. So
as opposed to some of the other ones like 184, which is a joint playground.
Like PS 110, you have to open and close it. Okay.
Exactly. This is the Parks Playground. I will ask this, Irfan, and I know there's limits on budget and funding that you work with local partners such as Troy's group to not only do you look at programming, but also to find ways to green that area. I know it's difficult on concrete, and that's not what the donations are for, but a couple of plants or some way to green that area would be nice if we could find a way. And I know there's some folks who might be willing to be part of that connection so we can get some green in that particular area, so we don't have to throw giant mud bombs into the little bit of green space that there is.
Totally fine.
And just one quick question for me, and I should know this, but what is a pitch? Is it just a smaller soccer field? Because we keep saying soccer pitch, and I'm sitting here and I should know what that really means, but is it just a small soccer field?
It's a British word. So Paul, do you want to explain that one to us?
No, you're right. It's a court. It's a pitch. We call a
call.
But yeah, it's a court. But particularly though, it's not just a small pitch. This is internationally, these futsal courts are perfect for kids to develop their skills. They get more touches on the ball. They get more shots on goal, more chances to defend. So it's better for them. It's more inclusive for them. It's not just dependent on someone who is so physical and fast and tall. And it's also great for old people who just don't want to run around so far on the field. So it's the perfect pitch for a soccer field for an urban environment.
Okay, that's an excellent description.
Thank you for thinking about Trevor.
See, there you go. I'm playing on a real soccer field.
Trevor,
pitch is not.
I think we need to put in the resolution that the first game on the pitch needs to be the Parks Committee versus the Transportation Committee.
Parks versus transportation.
No, that's mean. We'd kill them.
Or we need 4 ambulances sitting by. Either or. So does anyone have any more bullet points they want to add?
I don't know whether you said this, Trevor, but I do think that the fact that this school is 50% or so young people in shelter, I think that's a really important point for us.
Is it 50% or is that?
That's what their website says, but perhaps Ifran knows better. But that's an important point, and I think, you know, not pitting local people who are housed here with students who are living in shelter. I think it's a generous donation. I think we want to be very supportive of that piece of it and the welcoming nature of the Lower East Side traditionally, historically, to everybody. So.
Yes.
I'd just like to make one point. When we put the pitches down, this is a long-term partnership. As impactful as a soccer field can be, there are so many different elements of where a partnership with our club can happen. We have our staff volunteering, there's college and career opportunities. There's really a connection with our organization and our people and all of our different partners that we bring on. So this is not a one and done. We really see this, we're not going anywhere for the next 100 years. We hope we're the New York City's professional soccer team, but our workers goes back 12 years when we built a rooftop soccer pitch in East Harlem. And we've still got kids involved from that program to this day. We're on our Youth Leadership Council. And it's the only elementary public school in the New York City Department of Education that's received Platinum for Health and Wellness 3 years in a row. So we see the impact, the values, the really great questions about it. But you can trust us that we're not going out, and there's a long-term commitment to helping any way we can. And with Green Gardens, we want to get the kids gardening someday.
That's great. That's great. That would be great to include that, what you just said, in our resolution. And yes, we'll find out where you live, so we'll know if you do us wrong.
So I just wanted to confirm your point. Yes, 50% of the children are in shelters, and that's what moved us and really motivated us to come forward and say, hey guys, we got to do this. We got to do this for those children. And we hope that number goes down. We really hope that happens, and hopefully they'll explore the sport of soccer. I just want to say one more thing. This is not the end of the initiative. It is just the end of the construction of the initiative. The initiative really begins next year when they are built, programmed, and deployed as we go to a very important date, which is 2026. 2026 is a very important date, and Paul's smiling because he knows what that date is. And I wonder if anyone on this committee board knows what that date is for our country. Does anyone know? A year, 2026, what's happening?
All the soccer fields are changing the pitch?
No.
We get the Cup.
Someone said it. Who said it?
We get the World Cup that year.
The World Cup comes to the United States. It's connected to Mexico and Canada. So you need to look at this from a big picture perspective. A lot of these partners that are involved in this project.
David, you're very muffled.
Okay. I'll just say very quickly, the partners that are involved in this project, they're also very close to that project as well. So just think about the connection there. Thank you.
And Kay, I didn't get all that of what he said before, but if you could send that to me, it'd be perfect.
I think if Paul, if you could send that, or Ifran, if you could send that, because I'm sure you have that somewhere written. Yes, what Paul just said about the commitment beyond this project.
Yeah, can I just throw in, because I'm trying to take notes here, the commitment that that's a long-term commitment of programming, and also that the programming works beyond soccer. So it's working with academic support. That we probably have some nice language about that.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
Carlin?
Yeah, I'd like to suggest that if the Parks Department does issue permits, that they should prioritize local nonprofits or CBOs, and also limit the time permitted play is allowed per day. Because I have Columbus Park here, and this soccer field here they have leagues playing here all day long. The kids can't get into the play. So, we don't want what do you call permitted play to dominate that space. So they should limit it to maybe 2 or 3 hours in the mornings. Right? Maybe we should add
Right.
something in there.
Well, what I'm going to add is that they do a balance, and number one, prioritizing our local youth and CBOs, but there be a balance of program play and open time, because I do think program play is important. I don't like to see parks that are completely programmed, to your point, Colin, because then they can't use them. But I think in districts like this, especially when 50% of the population is homeless, that I know growing up that I needed some program play. But I agree with you that there needs to be a balance. I don't know if it's 50-50 or specific hours, but they need to make sure it's balanced. But I will add that in. Does anyone else have anything else they want to add to this?
I
just want to say back to Carlin's point that I really don't want us to look like if some of these students are in shelter not in our neighborhood. I don't think we want to pit people against each other. I don't think we need to. And I think we can trust this organization, which is, or, you know, to think about that issue. And I like your language of balance.
Okay.
But these kids have no one to advocate for them. And when you talk about a parents association, you know, that's another, you know, who is in the parents association. But anyway, I think you got it.
Yeah, I wanted to ask another quick question. Just how many hours of programming is the organization planning to utilize the space for on a daily or weekly basis?
I think it really depends on what the community wants and the needs. If the school has an existing after-school program, or there's an existing CBO that would love to utilize the space, then by all means, we're not there to insist that this program happens. It's really a collaborative process with the local community leaders and what they see happen. And if there's nothing existing already, then we'd happy to step in and offer this. I think the US Soccer Foundation, Soccer for Us, has more structure in terms of it's 3 times a week, it's 90 minutes, and it lasts for 12 weeks in the spring and the fall. But that's something that we'd be happy if the community says, look, we'd love to have after school program there 3 times a week from 2:30 to 5. Yes, we can. But we're not in a position to mandate that this happens. So if you've got guidance on how to create and develop the program, who are the people we should be speaking to, the organizations we should be speaking to, then please put me in touch by email or shared in the chat room.
Sure, and I'm sure folks will do that. And I don't want to mandate any type of programming. I know that some of the pitches are not used; they're just used for open play. And if the community wants more programming, they can ask for it. But you don't come in with a slate of programming and take over. Whatever the community desires, if it's a lot or nothing, is what you typically provide.
Yeah.
Well, that being said, folks, anything else? I was trying to get off a good time tonight. We're still 2 hours. Anything else you want to add to the bullet points? Michael, sorry, no. But you said no more 4-hour meetings, so we're doing pretty good.
I would like a motion to ask Michael where he got his hat, but we'll wait.
He got it from Century 21 5 years ago off the clearance rack while he was shopping with a younger member of his family. They are no longer available. That hat is now worth $647 on eBay because there's only 3 left with the actual train model on the lid of the hat. And that is actually very true.
You were almost correct. It was Forever 21.
Forever something. But Kay, you want to continue your motion so we can get off this call?
I just would like to add both of them. May they rest in peace.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I can't remember what I was doing. motion to accept this resolution.
Can I have a second? And these are the bullet points. And keep in mind that we're going to add some whereases and some cleanup on.
Second it.
Ryan, you want to take a roll call vote for this? Let's do this. We're going to take a roll call vote for this and a motion to adjourn at the same time. So wake up, folks.
Wake up.
What the heck?
Wake up.
It's Hanukkah.
Oh, I wouldn't have got that connection. Sorry. Go ahead, Ryan. It's getting late.
Deborah Holland.
Before they go, thank you for that presentation. We're going to end the meeting by taking a vote and adjourning, but thank you for the presentation. Yes.
Kay Webster,
Yes, yes, and happy Hanukkah.
David Adams,
I approve the pending resolution.
Yaron Altman, Carlin Chan,
Yes.
Ryan Gillum, yes. Valentina Jones,
Yes.
Michael Marino,
Yes, and happy Hanukkah.
Carolyn Ratcliffe, Robin Chattel,
Sorry. I'm tired. Yes, 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 yes.
Josephine Velez, Troy Velez.
Yes.
Okay, that's it.
Good night, all.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone. Happy Hanukkah. Happy holidays. Be safe and good night. See you next month.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Trevor.